Spirit Sports Consultants presents our weekly NFL picks.
It's week 15 in the NFL, which means there's only 4 more weeks left until the playoffs start. Crunch time. We're already seeing some playoff races starting to take shape, especially in the AFC. NFC is a little bit more wide open, especially at the top. NFC North, only 1 game separation. 1 and 2 seeds could flip. So for this video, we're going to do our picks, but we're also going to take a look at the current playoff seedings in the AFC, then the NFC, and then starting this week and through December, we're going to do our Super Bowl pick of the week, see how that changes, see what you think. Hit us up in the comments. Get to the games. Falcons at the Raiders. Kirk Cousins and the Falcons looked very, very poor against the Vikings in the second half of the Week 14 matchup. We thought they would bounce back from that difficult loss against the Chargers. They did not, currently on a 4-game losing streak. On the other hand, doesn't get much better with the Raiders. Losing Aiden O'Connell looks like a serious injury, which should mean that Desmond Ridder is going to get the start in this game. We're not sure. We'll follow the injury report. So with that unknown, we still think Kirk Cousins is better than whoever the Raiders put under center. We think the Falcons should take this 27-21. They should lean on the running game more, give Bijan and the running backs more of an opportunity. We like them here 27-21. Ravens at the Giants in the Super Bowl rematch from the 2000 season, back in the Ray Lewis, Trent Dilfer days. This iteration of the Ravens, they really should have a lock of the AFC wildcard, but they really need to take aim at the Steelers for the AFC North. We don't think they'll let up here against the Giants team that's more than likely playing for draft positioning. They currently, we believe, have the number 1 draft pick. They should really play for that. We think the Ravens will roll here 31-14 at the Meadowlands. Like we said, the Giants don't have much to play for, and the Ravens really need to go after the Steelers for the AFC North. Bears at the Vikings. We want to ask everyone, hit us up in the comments, Coach of the Year, do you base that on who's in first place? You know, look at Dan Campbell, who we love the Lions, and Dan Campbell's done a great job, but he had that roster. What about Kevin O'Connell? With the Vikings not expected to do anything, look where they are, currently 11-2, playing dominant, and we think that they're giving the Lions a real shot for the NFC North. We think that continues here as they host the Bears. The Bears, again, difficult game at San Francisco. Maybe it's not Matt Eberflus. Maybe they have more problems they need to address in the offseason. We like the Vikings here 24-17 as they continue to roll towards the playoffs. And a few key plays from Week 14, too, with a great overtime touchdown. Jets never saw the ball. Looking at the Vikings, unbelievable play by Sam Darnold. This blew the game open. It had been close up to that point. And a block, punt, return for a touchdown, crushed the Bills. And one better was this play away from losing a $1 million bet on the Eagles. And before we continue, if you would, just join our channel. And if you like this video or find it useful, like it and then subscribe. We provide weekly NFL picks, highlights, and sports travel. Thank you. Bengals at the Titans. We are recording this before the Bengals play on Monday night, of course, so any injuries will not be reflected here. But we got to say, looking at what the Titans did at home against Jacksonville, 6 points at home, really, that's fairly pathetic. On the defensive side, the pass defense has been top 5 all year. That might give the Bengals a little bit of trouble, but we think that Joe Burrow and that team, if they're playing fully, they're out of the playoff contention, we think, but they should be able to take care of the Titans here 27-20. Only concern we might have would be the Bengals' porous defense. They haven't been able to slow anyone down. We think they can do that here at Nashville. Bengals 27-20. Cowboys at the Panthers. Cowboys have been playing better again, like we said. We're recording this before they play the Bengals on Monday night. But we got to give some props to Bryce Young. We were one of the people, a lot of people were critical of Bryce Young. We're Texans fans here, so we rejoice getting C.J. Stroud instead of Bryce Young based on last year's performance. But what Bryce Young's done in the past few games since he got the starting job back has been nothing short of incredible. They haven't won those games, but you got to look at the performance. Taking probably the best team currently in the NFC, right there with the Lions, right up to the final play of the game, could have beaten them. We think the Eagles had a bit of a letdown. We think Bryce Young is playing great. We think that bodes well for next year, and we think for this game he's been playing especially well at home. Should have beaten the Buccaneers in that overtime game. We like them here 24-17 over the Cowboys. Packers at the Seahawks. Packers with that tough loss at Detroit. You can make the case that they should have won that game. We think that LaFleur was definitely in the right for complaining that one play where it looked like Jared Goff was down as he was handing the ball off that ultimately sealed the game for them. Seahawks, again, we've had them underrated here for the past couple of weeks. We kept picking the Cardinals over the Seahawks. Wrong again. We think here with the 12th man factor, we love the Packers. We pick them almost every week, but we think the Seahawks ultimately can't ignore the passing game with Geno Smith. We think the defense has righted the ship now they've gotten everybody back healthy. Mike McDonald's done a phenomenal job. We don't think he's in Coach of the Year discussion yet. Great job with that defense. We like the Seahawks here. Close game, low scoring, 20-17. AFC playoff seeding, we have the Chiefs, we got the Bills, Steelers, Texans, the division leaders. Can't say winners yet. Wild cards look like they're going to be the Chargers, the Ravens, and the Broncos. Ravens still have a shot at the AFC North. Broncos and Chargers, maybe the AFC West, but this is your seeding for now. And speaking of playoff seeding, the Colts are currently 2 games behind the Broncos for that 7th and final wild card spot. We think this is a key game. If they were to win this, obviously they would then only be 1 game behind and have the head-to-head tiebreaker. We think having to go to Mile High, play the Broncos. We think Bo Nix has been playing incredibly well. Anthony Richardson is a little bit inconsistent, a little prone to the interception. And we think here that the Broncos take them 27-17 over the Colts. Chiefs at the Browns. The Chiefs continue to win. The Browns continue to play interesting games. They really kept it interesting against the Steelers in the first half. Then ultimately that Steeler defense, they do what they do. Forced 2 interceptions. Again, Jameis is the type of quarterback that can throw 400 yards, but then he might throw 4 interceptions. We think they're going to play a little bit better against the Chiefs at home. That's just kind of what they do. But ultimately the Chiefs are going to follow the pattern they've set all season. They're going to win in a narrow way, and they're going to find a way to win late. We like them here 24-21 over the Browns in Cleveland. Rams at the 49ers, both these teams with impressive victories in Week 14. The Rams, especially hosting Buffalo, looked like they were really keyed up for that game. Probably an emotional week of prep going up against the AFC, one of the AFC leaders in the Buffalo Bills. And the 49ers, I guess they were tired of people complaining about them and writing them off after all their injuries because they put it to the Chicago Bears, team we thought would actually cover the spread in that one. We think this one's going to be close, but we think what the Rams have on offense and that improved defense, we think, again, they're the healthier team. We like them even though they're on the road. We take the Rams 28-24 over the 49ers. And now let's look at the NFC playoff seeds. A lot of intrigue, especially in the NFC West. There could be for all 4 teams competing for that division. But for now, we have the Lions, Eagles, Seahawks, Bucs have taken over the NFC South from the struggling Falcons. Then the wildcard teams for now, we have the Vikings, the Packers, and the Commanders. But again, that NFC West is somewhat up for grabs. Dolphins at the Texans, and looking at this game in preseason, we had envisioned this as almost like a playoff preview. Not to be the case for the Dolphins, who struggled due to Tua's injury, having to miss 4 games. But the Dolphins are playing a lot better now. Great overtime victory over the Jets as they took the ball first, never looked back, scored the game-winning touchdown. The Texans have not played their best football yet. We're not sure if this team is as good as last year's team, even though the roster is better. We also know the Dolphins really well, being based here in South Florida. They love to play in controlled conditions, indoors, on fast surfaces, plays right to their speed. We like them here 21-17 over the hometown Texans. Patriots at the Cardinals. The Cardinals slumping, similar to the Falcons in the NFC South, could not take care of business at home against Seattle. Kyler Murray with 2 very poor interceptions, really ultimately costing them the game. Couldn't convert late, missed a field goal, almost doing everything wrong. But we think here at home against the Patriots, Drake May has definitely shown flashes, but we're going to have to pick the better quarterback. We're going to have to go with Kyler Murray here. Really, if they can just play a game without these miscues, without these interceptions, they should win easily. Jets at the Jaguars. We got one team coming off a tough overtime loss, and we watched that game here in South Florida. We thought the Jets should have won that game. They really outplayed the Dolphins. Just one of those things. And looking at the Jaguars at the Titans, an ugly 10-6 victory. Came up with a touchdown late. Really, the Titans' offense couldn't do anything. We're going to pick the Jets here based on our double technical rule. Technical double, meaning a team coming off a tough loss, the Jets losing in overtime against a team coming off a win, the Jags winning at Tennessee. We like the Jets here 24-21. We think they're the stronger team too. All right, for every week in December, we're going to be providing our weekly Super Bowl pick. We didn't do it too early because, it'll look really stupid picking back in September. For now, we like the Buffalo Bills and the Detroit Lions. That's our pick for Week 15. We'll probably change that for Week 16. Hit us up in the comments. Tell us how wrong we are. And not coincidentally, that leads to our next game, the Bills at the Lions. Clearly the marquee matchup for Week 15. We do think this is a Super Bowl preview. The Chiefs and Eagles may have something to say about it, but we love these two teams. We think whoever gave the Bills their schedule this year could not have been less fair. Bills have to go out to L.A. and then come back to Detroit to face the Lions in the second of a back-to-back, as the Lions have that mini-bye coming off the game, that Thursday game against the Packers. We think that's the difference. We think the Bills might be a better team here, but you have to look at all these situational setups and especially lean towards the home team. That Lions team is fast. They've got balanced passing and rushing attack. Bills have it as well. We think the Lions are more balanced. We like them here 27-24 at home over the Bills in this, what we think is a Super Bowl preview. And for a second time this year, the state of Pennsylvania becomes a battleground state as the Steelers face the Eagles. Did Philly, in fact, have their look ahead, their letdown game against the Panthers, or are they really struggling? We think it was a look ahead, a little bit of a letdown. It's just tough to take the human emotional element out of it. Steelers didn't do that as they took care of business in a bit of a revenge game for them against Jameis and the Browns. We think the Eagles are the second best team in the NFL, so we're going to pick them here over the Steelers, 31-27. I think it's just that close. When we ran the numbers, ran the stats, it came out dead even. The only difference would be home field advantage for the Eagles. They are that close. The line should probably be 2.5, no greater than 3. Take the Eagles here, but it is razor-thin margin. The Bucs at the Chargers. The Chargers in a good position for a wild card, and the Bucs now leading the NFC South, coming back after all those injuries, and they really look like they're hitting their playoff form. Baker Mayfield having another great year now that Mike Evans is back. They did lose Chris Godwin for the season, but they're still doing well. We think in this case, the Chargers defense has started to slip just a little bit. We think the Bucs offense is so dynamic. Now they've got a running game that they did not have last year to go with Baker Mayfield in the passing game. I think that's going to be too much for the Chargers to adjust to. Herbert's been okay, but little injuries on the receiving front. We think that's enough for the Bucs to take this one. Commanders at the Saints. Jaden Daniels gets the opportunity to go back to the state in which he starred for all those years as he returns to Louisiana to face the Saints in New Orleans. We thought this would be a great matchup as we looked at this one a few weeks out, but now Derek Carr appears to be injured. That should make this somewhat of a one-sided affair. The Saints are kind of struggling these past couple of weeks. They lost Taysom Hill for the season. That was a big part of their offense. And we think Jaden Daniels, after that victory over the Titans, struggled there for a few games mid-season. Now we think they're back to playoff form. We like them here 31-20 over the home Saints. We think they are on their way to securing a playoff spot.
That's all for this time. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to sharing our future videos with you.